Basically, the episode 13 is about verbs. Last time you had the copula verb, des, which is like the equivalent of simply putting a period on the end of something. Now we're going to actually talk about real verbs, like running and swimming and jumping and eating and all that other sort of things that you actually do. So let's get to work. Japanese's word order is different from lots of other things, especially from English, because in English it's generally subject, verb, object. I eat an apple. But in Japanese it's subject, object, verb. I an apple eat is how it would sort of be literally like transliterated if such a thing had to be done. So you always see this in textbooks and whatnot. You just see SVO. Whatever. If you want to remember it this way, that's fine. Just remember, like, what's doing it, what is having it done, and what is being done. So, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. So let's talk about how that will work. You remember from last time, watashi wa ningen desu. Watashi wa ningen desu. That des is a verb. It works the same way. However, when you're using things that are other verbs, sometimes you don't need an object. Like for instance, if you want to say, I run, then you use watashi wa. You remember watashi wa from earlier, the last time that we did it. And then hashiru is the verb for to run. Watashi wa hashiru. Period. They don't use dots as periods in Japanese. They actually use a little circle. So those like annoying girls from second grade that you would always sort of get irritated at because they made little circles and hearts and crap on their papers when you had to grade them, they're actually right in Japanese. So you make a little circle there. Watashi wa hashiru. The reason that there's no object in here is because the subject, which is you, is the one that's doing a thing and you can't run something else. Because run is like a non-directional verb. I mean, you run in a direction, but that's not the thing. Because like, you can use the word eat, I eat, and that's fine. Or you can say, I eat an apple. And I know that there's, technically you can say something like, I run a road. Green Day, of course, has told us that they walk a lonely road. But you don't need that here. You can say it. Not going to get there yet. Leave that for like the next couple minutes or so. Watashi wa hashiru. I run. The watashi, of course, is the I. The wa is the topic marker. The thing that says, this sentence is about the thing behind this character. Wa means that watashi is the main character. There's a mosquito in here, I don't want to deal with it. Is the main character of this sentence. And then the main character does something. In this case, runs. But that's easy, right? So the object that's getting here is you take the des off of another sentence and replace it with any other verb. However, in order for you to use something like, for instance, watashi wa inu desu, something with an object, you have to use the object marker, which we talked about in a long time ago, episode something or another, because you remember seeing this thing, right, where I said you don't use it for very much, you only use it for an object marker. That's what this thing is, wo, or o, depending on who you ask. I don't really care how you pronounce it, sometimes I pronounce it either way. In order to use this one, for instance, if you want to say, I eat an apple, we already know how to get to the watashi wa. Watashi wa. The word for apple is ringo. Go. There is a kanji for ringo, but it's dumb. It's pretty impressive. Watashi wa ringo taberu. The verb for taberu is this thing, eat. You take the kanji for good and put a roof over it. But you cannot say, watashi wa ringo taberu. Because there's something missing there. Because if you directly translated this, it would be something like, I apple eat, as though apple eat was a specific verb that meant a thing that wasn't just two things stuck together. In order for this to work, you have to put the particle wo, which is the object marker, right behind the object that is having stuff done. So, ringo is the thing that's here. Right behind it, you put the wo, and then you put the verb. Watashi wa ringo wo taberu. It's pretty good that way. It makes life a little bit easier when you start to remember all the particles. So right now, you have wa and wo. Those are the only two particles I've taught you right now, so don't worry about the others just yet. So, we've got this one here. So let's talk about a bunch of different verbs. Okay, so let's run these verb things. The way that verbs work is they almost always end in an u sound. Some of them will end in ru, like this thing. Some of them will end in things that are not ru, but have the u sound at the end. For the most part, like, we're not going to worry about the conjugations for it right now. So if it ends in a sort of u sound, it might be a verb, and we'll leave it just like that, okay? Let's talk about some good verbs that we've got. Let's see. Verbs that often get used are things like walk, which is, I shouldn't write this in red, you guys can't actually see it, can you? Aruku. Aruku is a good verb. You saw me do this one just a minute ago. Taberu. Taberu. Technically this shouldn't be there because you already know how to read ku. Oh, there's a turtle in here? Is there a fucking turtle in here? There is a turtle! There is a turtle in this classroom! I was not aware of this. Anyway. So you got taberu. The next one, if you take most of the eat kanji, don't put that last one on, and then put this thing next to it, then it gets to be drink, nomu. We've got miru, to look, or to see. Yeah, what else are we going to be using in here? I guess we could use kiku, because kiku's not a terrible thing to know. This is kiku, which is to listen, or to hear. What else we got? We've got to use, tsukau, which is one of the kanji that's used in the word for angel. In Japanese, the word for angel is literally sky user. Tsukau. You've got ride, which is a nice thing to know. Noru. What else are we going to have here? We've got oriru, which is like to get off of something. How does this one? I never remember this kanji. I feel really bad every time I have to write it. Oriru. What else we got? To buy. Buying something is a good thing. Because this way you'll know what to use when you want to buy like ice cream or something. Kau. And then this is oriru. Okay, so let's look over these together. Aruku, to walk. Aruku. Aruku. Taberu, to eat. Taberu. Taberu. Nomu, to drink. Nomu. Nomu. Did I get bit by that stupid mosquito? Bet you I did. Miru, to look at, to view. Miru. Miru. Kiku, to listen, or to ask, or to hear. Kiku is an interesting one, because not only does it mean listen and whatnot, but it also means to ask, as in to ask someone something. Tsukau, to use. Tsukau. Tsukau. Next one is noru, to ride. Noru. Noru. Or it also means like to get onto like a vehicle that moves. So like you could say, fune ni notta. to get onto a boat. But we haven't learned ni yet, so don't worry about that. Next up is oriru, to disembark, to get off of, that kind of thing. Oriru, oriru. And then kau, to buy. Kau, kau. Let's look at how some of these can be used in action. Okay, so we know how to use the verbs and stuff now because you have the topic or the object marker. But in order for us to see some of those in action, we have to learn some nouns to put into the object-like section. So let's talk about some nouns. We've talked about some of these already, but we haven't really actually touched on them sort of class-wise. So let's do that really quick. First we've got dingo. Dingo is apple. Dingo is it has, again, like I mentioned before, it has a kanji, and the kanji is dumb and complicated, and I don't think anyone ever uses it for anything. Next up, we've got coffee, which in Japanese is pronounced kohi. Kohi, because they don't have the f sound here. Next up, other stuff that you'd be buying and or drinking. You've got tea, ocha. Ocha. Ocha, which is, that's a sa, isn't it? Ocha. This, of course, is katakana, so you should be able to figure it out by yourself. But sandwich, sandwichi. I'm not even joking, you guys. They don't have a word for sandwich, they use this one. Sandwichi. And, you know, that's fine and everything. Rice that you'll get with basically every meal starts with go. There is a kanji for go, nobody uses it for anything. And then han was what? I forget. I never have to write this crap. It's the one for to, like, eat, and then it's the one that's in saka, isn't it? Gohan? I think so? Yeah. Gohan. Han, like this, is cooked rice. Very specifically cooked rice. Uncooked rice is this one. Kome. Kome. But you'll see this one only if you're going out to buy it and stuff, which makes sense because we're going to be talking about that. We've got things like juice. Juisu. Cultural note. The word juice in Japanese literally means anything that's not alcohol. So you could say to someone, buy me some juice, and they would very well be in their rights to bring you back a soda or a coffee or anything that's not alcohol. It's the equivalent of the word soft drink for us. Words, soft drink, anyway, juice. For things that you'd be doing stuff on, you have road, which I guess I'll write down here. Michi. Yeah, it is kind of jank on that last one. That shouldn't go down that far. There. Michi. Michi is road. Michi. Michi, road. Next up, what are we going to put in here? I guess if you're going to buy stuff, you might buy something expensive like a television, which in Japanese is terebi. 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 If there's stuff that you're doing things to, you might listen to, for instance, music, which is ongak. This is on, and then this is gaku. Ongaku. 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 Stuff that you'd be writing, I suppose. Densha. Densha is train. So you got densha, literally electric car. Further, I mean, because we talked about car, of course, this one is just the word for car, which is kuruma. Oh, but Vincent, like, because I thought it was sha up here, but now it's kuruma down here. Yes, I know, I hate my life when I have to deal with kanji as well. Kanji have several different readings depending on what's around them. When it's read alone, it says kuruma. When it's read with other stuff, most of the time it says sha. Sometimes it doesn't say sha, and on those times, I hate stuff. But yeah, so that's how that goes. And then I guess we'll talk about bicycle, because you'll be buying and or riding a bicycle sometime as well, won't you? 10 bit of this again. Jitensha. Ji is like oneself, or one's own. Ten is to turn, and sha, just like it was up here, is a car or a wheel or that kind of thing. So let's look at these one more time. Ringo, apple. Kohi, coffee. Ocha, tea. Sandoichi. You should be able to figure that one out. Gohan is white rice or cooked rice. Kome is uncooked rice. Juice is literally any drink that it won't get you drunk. Michi is road. Terebi is television. Ongaku is music. Densha is train. Kuruma is car. And jitensha is bicycle. So, now we know some verbs and some nouns. Let's put them together and make them kiss. Yay, let's play a matching game. So, I've written nouns on one side, verbs on the other, and they don't match up because you cannot say that you listen to an apple. And you can say that, but they think you're nutters. So, let's work on it. If I said, watashi wa ringo wo, what would you say? Yeah, ringo wo taberu. Watashi wa ringo wo taberu. Never, ever, ever, ever forget this thing. It's super important and people will laugh at you. Next up, ocha. Watashi wa ocha wo what? Yeah, ocha wo nomu. Yeah, not terrible at all. Ocha wo nomu, to drink tea. Next up, if I said, watashi wa densha wo, technically this isn't wo, this is ni, so I shouldn't be telling you this one. In this case, it'll be ni only, but only in this case, yeah. In fact, anytime you use noru, it'll be ni. Just think about that for now. I'll tell you the rules about ni later. But anyway, I just said it, of course. It'd be noru, wouldn't it? Noru. What about terebi? Watashi wa terebi wo? Aren't very many choices left. Terebi wo miru. And finally, ongaku wo kiku. Good job. Note is different. I shouldn't have taught it to you yet. It just occurred to me that it would be different that way. But anyway, no big deal. So now you've got the sentence structure for how to say that someone does something. Because this watashi can become any noun. You could, for instance, say, Inu wa ringo wo taberu. The dog eats the apple. This bit here, the main character of the sentence, can change into anything. Watashi wa kanojo wa anata wa America no daitouryou wa Obama wa. Anything is fine there. Just put a noun there. And it becomes the main character of the sentence because it's behind the wa. You put a noun in front of the wo, and it becomes the object of the sentence because of the wo, and then you put a verb at the end. And life is a little bit easier that way. So, now you know how to make slightly more complex but still relatively simple sentences. Simply saying I am, using what we in English would use auxiliary verbs or helping verbs or be verbs, I guess is what that one would be verbs. In Japanese they call them be doshi because the word doshi is, verb, and then be, of course, they don't have an equivalent for it. But anyway, so you know how to use be verbs, and now you know how to use actual meaty verbs. So let's practice some of that then, and I'll see you in the next video where I teach you how to write all this crap. Alright, we're done. Later.
The freaking turtle. He's totally just right there. Come on, dude. Come on out. Oh.